Sorry, I had to cut off the video because my dad came in, and so I'm just now picking it up later. I was at his house. Okay, so what I want to say is, are you making your life, do you have these perfectionistic tendencies to try to get everything perfect so that you will heal? If you're perfect, you can heal. But newsflash, being perfect is not going to and has not healed you yet, right? All you're trying to be perfect is just a way, you're never going to be perfect. Nobody can ever be perfect. So when you try to be perfect and you don't reach perfection, as nobody can, it's easy to have that excuse, to have that out, and to say, well, I tried, I did everything, I did all this, and I'm still not healed. And it's easy to allow yourself to give up and to find excuses and to let that be your excuse, right? But here's the truth. You are never going to be perfect. You are never going to do it perfect enough. You are never going to, do the perfect protocol, do the perfect thing, say the perfect thing, and this is a way, your illness could be a way of keeping your life small and keeping you with excuses, keeping you safe, keeping you guilty. And when I say guilty, I mean a lot of people hang on to pain or suffering or illness because they have great guilt and they can't forgive themselves. Like, if I didn't do that, this wouldn't have happened. If I only listened to my inner gut feeling, this wouldn't have happened. If I only hadn't have done this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be this. Look at all the pain I've caused in everybody else's life. Look at all the suffering that has gone on because of this illness. Look at, I've ruined this person's life and this person's life and this person's life and this, on and on. Is it an excuse? Is it a way to keep yourself with that excuse and just, is it a way for you to feel like, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I guess what I just want to say is that when you're trying to keep yourself small, when you are trying to give yourself excuses, when you give yourself excuses for not attaining perfection or for not healing yourself yet, and you hang on to this guilt, you allow yourself to be guilty and to be wrong and to be sentenced for something that you may have done to get yourself in this position, or now that you're in this situation, it has ruined other people's lives, right? And you're guilty about that. And if I could only try harder, then I would be better, then I would be healed. And you allow yourself to be guilty for not being healed, for being in this situation, for getting in this situation, and for staying in this situation. And when we allow ourselves to be guilty like that, we allow ourselves excuses, and we allow ourselves to sort of hold on to the suffering and the pain. And the guilt is just an excuse in order to hang on to it and to make it smaller and to beat ourselves up. Because if we forgave ourselves and said, is this really true? Did I really cause this situation? Did I really do anything wrong here? Is this my fault? Did I ruin everybody's lives? It might appear on the surface that you have ruined everybody's life, but maybe not. Maybe they're gaining something out of this. Maybe you're gaining something out of this. Maybe everybody is gaining something out of this that they wouldn't have had that experience if this didn't happen. You don't know. You don't know. And you're allowing yourself to be punished forever. But you don't know. Maybe, the fact that you're ill and, you appreciate your children more. You will never let this happen to them. You have had to reevaluate your relationships. You've had to get closer to people. You've had to stop doing certain things that were making you unhappy. Whatever it is. Maybe they weren't all such bad things. Maybe they were lessons that needed to be learned and not like this. And I know you would trade them. I know that you would give it all away, if you could just be well. But when you make your life small, when you hang on to excuses, when you allow yourself to be punished and guilty, you can't heal. You're getting something out of it. You're getting something out of it. And that guilt that you feel, that guilt that you allow yourself to feel, is actually what you're craving. Because it means that you're a good person. It means that you care. It means that you would do anything to solve this problem. If you're perfectionistic and you are trying, it means you're a good person. It means you're heroic. It means you are a fighter. It means you are a champion. It means you care so much. It means if you feel guilty that you care about your husband, your children, everybody that this has hurt, that you are good and worthy and shouldn't be blamed, and you don't need to put that on yourself in order to have the validation that you're looking for, right? And you don't need to create a small world and a small life where you don't get to go out and travel and jump off cliffs and have fun and socialize and dare to dream and be and go out there and live and work and everything, because you're keeping your world so small, tiny, so that you can be safe, so that you can protect, so that you can make sure this never happens again, that you can, what I'm saying is, are you getting something out of this illness? Are you causing your sickness? Are you perpetuating your sickness? Are you keeping yourself sick? Are you keeping yourself small? Are you keeping yourself guilty? Are you keeping yourself riddled with excuses? Are you keeping yourself at a distance from actually healing and from doing and being the person that it actually takes for you to be healed? I imagine that if you imagine yourself healed, it's the opposite of all of that, right? It's the opposite of that. Your life is not small, it's large. And that's scary. But in your vision, it's exciting. It's wonderful. It's big and it's happy and it's joyful and it's free, right? Maybe in this version of it, you have excuses and you're guilty, and the opposite of that is true. When you look at that vision of your life, you have no more guilt left. You feel free, you feel forgiven, you feel vindicated, you feel accepted, you feel understood, you feel like you've done your penance, you've paid your crime, and you can let it behind you. In your vision of health, you see that for yourself. You see that all the guilt, all the suffering, all the self-beating up can fade away. You can be happy. You can hold your head up high. You can have pride. You can have self-love. You can feel accepted. You feel understood, and you feel forgiven, and you feel absolved of anything, and you feel free and loved and cherished, right? So these are the things that you will feel when you are healed. And if you are only giving yourself the opposite now, you are keeping yourself from being the version of yourself that you want to be when you're healed. You are keeping yourself from being absolved, from being forgiven, from having a large life, from having that freedom, from being able to do anything and everything that you want. Okay, so you have to let go. You're holding your illness tight. You're holding your fear tight. You're holding your guilt tight, your shame tight, your excuses tight. And you have to open up your hand. You have to be brave enough to say, even though I'm still sick, even though I still have the symptoms, even though I still feel all these emotions, I am going to open my hand and I'm going to let go of the grip I'm going to loosen the grip on my excuses, on my small world, on my fear, on my shame, on my guilt, on my self-hatred and self-beating yourself up and feeling unforgivable. And allow yourself to feel how you want to feel and how you will feel when you are healed. And to try to not just open up, but catapult forward. Catapult and run toward what you want to feel, how you want to feel when you're healed, when you're understood, when all is behind you, when all the hurts are gone, when all the shame is gone, when the guilt is gone, when the sadness and the loneliness and the despair and the suffering and the helplessness and the hopelessness is gone. And allow yourself to start to feel that way now, to bring things into your life that help you feel that way, to challenge yourself with new experiences that make yourself open up, to challenge yourself with new social situations that have your heart open, to challenge yourself to forgive yourself, to do the self-reflection work, to journal, to write letters to yourself, to forgive yourself, to love yourself, to do mirror work, to do the inner work, to look at yourself, to truly say that you forgive yourself, right? You have to do these things now. These things are not going to just magically come when you cross the finish line. The finish line is going to come when you've done all the work and you've done all these things that you need to do, and suddenly you'll look behind you and you're like, I crossed the finish line, right? So it's not a switch. Like, I will feel all these things when I cross the finish line. It's like, no, you have to feel, and it's so weird, but you have to feel those things first before the finish line appears, before that you can cross it. Otherwise, you're just still in the race. You're still running. You're in the middle. You cannot see the finish line. The finish line does not appear until you do those things. So think about these. These are just things to think about. They are things to help you as you move through this, as you move through the mind-body work that needs to be done in order to heal. And know that you can do it, and it will feel better to do it, right? It will feel better to allow yourself to have a taste of what it feels like when you cross that finish line before you get there. And you don't have to feel bad about that. And you don't have to feel scared. You don't have to live in fear or shame or guilt or pain or suffering. You can simply choose to say, I'm going to choose not to maybe make it go away, but I'm going to choose a different way. I'm going to choose to try this. I'm going to choose to be like this. I'm going to choose to be kinder, to be nicer to myself, to be more open. And I'm going to see what happens. And so that's just where you need to start.